coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to my games room. Today I want to talk to you about the Warhammer Alliance by Games Workshop. Now, the Warhammer Alliance is not something that you can just walk into a Games Workshop store and purchase. In fact, it's not something that anybody can purchase. This is something that Games Workshop donates to schools for the purposes of starting up like a Warhammer club. The requirements for this are that the students in the school have to be, well, you have to have students in the school who are 12 and older, because that is the age that Games Workshop has set for their clubs. And you have to have a person, obviously, who's willing to take on the club, and you just contact them, tell them that you're doing the club, they'll ask you a few questions, and they'll send you this great package. So I was very pleased to receive this one, and I just wanted to share this on my channel because I know for me personally, Warhammer 40,000, a lot of those games are a big part of so many skills that I've learned in my life with the reading, the math, and things like that, because it just promotes so many great learning skills through the play of the games. So look at the report card for this then. Number of players, I'm going to give it an A+. It supports up to 12 people in this one box. You have enough materials here for 12 people, and so it's I'm sure if you had a club like this going to your school, you may have more interest than you can meet. But I mean, there could be ways that you could determine who would be the 12 people that would be chosen for the club. But there is enough materials in here for 12 people to get a start. For learning, I'm giving the game an A+. I think this game, like I said, has so many fantastic learning skills in it, and there's obviously huge amounts of reading that go on, either not only just in the rules, but there's so much great lore behind it, the stories of the chaos gods and the marines and the people fighting for their freedom, and there's novels that are written about different characters like Felix and Gotrek and Thanquol and Bone Ripper, and just so many great stories and things written about it, and just so much reading potential in this. It's just immense. Then there's the math, where you're calculating your points for armies and figuring things out, and costs, and the probabilities of dice and things like that. It's just measurements. There's just immense amounts of mathematical learning in here as well. And of course there's art with the painting, the assembling, the opportunity to make sculptures of buildings and terrain features and such like that. Great creative outlet. And I think even a clever teacher could figure out ways to incorporate scientific learning and social studies and things like that into the game as well. I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. That would be something maybe to talk about for another time, how you might integrate those in. But, as I say, the potential is there. I mean, really, this game can help teach, augment the teaching of any subject that you're teaching. For fun, I'm going to give the game an A+. I think the game is a ton of fun. I've been playing it for many years of my life. It's something that has been a huge part of my life. I mean, I started at a very young age, and I've been playing off and on all my life. Where I wasn't playing Warhammer, I was playing Blood Bowl and different versions of different games. I mean, it's been a huge part of my life, and I'm back into it now pretty solidly with the Age of Sigmar. And so it's something that it's continuing to be part of my life and for the foreseeable future. I do enjoy playing it, and you make some great friendships, meet some great people through it, and it's I highly recommend it. For time, I'm going to give the game an A+. Now this may sound strange because a game of Warhammer or Warhammer 40,000 can take a couple hours sometimes to play. But I'm not talking about just the game itself. I'm talking about the whole hobby. And so if you only have, say, 20 minutes, well, then just read for 20 minutes or paint for 20 minutes or sculpt something for 20 minutes. There's things you can do that can occupy your time for whatever time that you have available. And then if you have a larger block of time, by all means, play a larger game. But even if you have, say, an hour, you could play a smaller game as well. You can always scale games. You can always do skirmish battles, which are really small, just a couple of units fighting each other. Just for, that could even maybe take 20 minutes. So the game is hugely flexible in terms of what you can be doing, when you can be doing it, and depending on what time that you have to work with. For cost, well, if I'm looking at the overall game, it can get quite expensive. But if we're looking at this one here, A+, plus, because it's free. To do the Warhammer Alliance, to get it into your classroom, is going to cost you absolutely nothing. They will ship it to you. They will ship it to you free of cost, and it's just a fantastic thing to be, introducing to kids too. Now, when the kids get playing, it can get expensive for them. I mean, Warhammer is not a cheap hobby when you get into the full play of it. But for you, the teacher, this is free. There's no cost to you. So for looking at it from the educational perspective of a teacher who would be looking at getting this into their classroom, into their school, then this is free. And so that's the best that you could possibly hope for. Well, let me open up this box and show you what's inside. All right, so here's the box. And look at this. I mean, it's just chock full of stuff. So we have here, it's a some reproducible sheets so you can photocopy, because it has some things in here. So if you're helping to choose what kind of army you'd like, but this is something I thought was really cool, where they talk about the different mortal realms in the Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy Universe, and then designing an artifact so you can draw it and just give some kids some opportunity to be creative and just some literacy art activity, and then how to build the sector that you have. I'll get a little more into that later, showing some other models that are available in different armies in the thing. And creating a storm host. So again, what color schemes are you going to be using? What's the name? Giving some of the characteristics of them. Again, some opportunities to be more educational, a little, and to inspire some creativity in the students. And then painting things, a memorandum. So again, more of these great opportunities for learning an adventure battle plan. So it just has this whole thing, and then you get to a certain point here, and I think this is it. Yep. And then you flip it upside down, and now it's the same thing, but for the Warhammer 40,000. So you have your Space Marine stuff, the Warhammer 40,000 things, design your own Space Marine chapter, and so on. So really cool things that can get the kids excited about doing things their own way, and inspire some creativity and some literacy in there as they write about them. And there's tokens here which would be used for some gameplay, and the gameplay would be done on this mat here. So this mat folds out. And so this is the side for the Age of Sigmar Warhammer Fantasy game, and on this side for the Warhammer 40,000 game. So in the box, you're only getting one type of unit. You're getting Space Marines or the Stormcast Eternals. So if you're playing the Space Marines, then you can play against these Poxwalkers here. And if you're playing the Fantasy one, then you can have these Night Gaunts. An excerpt here from a Warhammer 40,000 novel, and on the reverse side it's one from a Age of Sigmar novel. A palette for mixing paints. You have a couple clippers in here, some dice, a bunch of paints, paint brushes. I call these minis here. So like I said, enough for 12 people to get started. Actually, it's more than 12. I mean, there's just a whole ton of stuff in here. But these are really nice models too, with the textured bases. I mean, the plastic models in Warhammer and Games Workshop have just come so far since the day that I've been playing. It's amazing the level of detail and quality that the models have. Now, what's nice about these ones too is they actually, once you snip them off the sprues, they have little pegs, and the pegs slot right into the hole, so you don't even need any glue. This glueless model, so you don't have to worry about the glues and stuff. Not that plastic cement is terrible. I mean, the super glue can be the one where you stick your fingers together, but this stuff is really safe. And then all this here is something you can give to every kid, so they have their own board, their own palette, their own thing. So this is just a sample of one. So this is one I opened up to see what was inside it, but that's one in there for every student in the club. So you have 12 copies of them in there. And then you have all the paints and stuff. So like I said, it's a great way to get started. You can get the kids creating their own chapters and things for the Space Marines and for the Stormcast Eternals. Then they can build their own models, they can paint them, you can play the games and sort of inspire them. And this is the kind of thing where, and of course this is what Games Workshop wants, is when you inspire them on something like this and they get excited about it, then it gets them continuing, and they become sort of into the game. And as they get into the game, it's what Games Workshop wants, but it's also what we want as teachers, because they are getting into something which is educational and fun, and so it's going to inspire them to do more learning and to continuing to be lifelong learners as they continue playing this game and reading up more about it and reading strategies and reading about the armies and reading the lore and just playing the game, meeting new people, improving their skills as they do all these things. So it's a huge win-win situation, and I think it's really something that if you are teaching at a school that has students who are 12 years of age and older, I would highly recommend looking at. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you have any questions about Warhammer Alliance, or you have any questions about other games you might have seen on the channel, or any ideas you might like to see me talk about, please leave me a message in the comment section below. But until next time, I'm Craig Thompson with the Board Game Teacher saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with